Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I know, it's 5:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have not done an early morning stream like this in quite a while, but there's a reason I am doing it. One, I was going to live stream last night, but I had a lot of quality sleep I had to catch up on, and I was hungry as hell. So I went to Denny's to have a late night dinner. I just got back and I had a little trouble. I would have actually put up a live stream earlier, but I was having trouble with the thumbnail. But I got that resolved. But y'all don't want to hear that, do y'all? So anyway, yeah, it is all good now. Thank you. How are you doing, Miguel? Yeah, today it's a special live stream, and the reason it is we have an election coming up Tuesday. So, and I'm going to do my live stream tonight. I have a live stream that I am going to do tonight. So this one's going to be a little bit longer than usual. So that's why I decided to do it at this hour so I can get some sleep. So with no further ado, we're going to discuss a couple of topics that relates to the 2024 election, and the topics basically involves Shank Ugert and Anna Kasparian, her comments about Trump and Shank Ugert exploding, and not all as well at the Young Turks. So these days, I think that they're about ready to be in the dustbins of media history at this point. And we're going to discuss also the generics of the presidential election between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, of course. Have to discuss the duopoly because the duopoly is happening whether we like it or not. And we're also going to discuss the connected with the duopoly, the Mean Girl fight between Lindsey Graham and Liz Cheney. And also we're going to discuss, finally, also related to 2024, the European Green Party versus Jill Stein of the Green Party of the U.S. and what I have to say about this. So, with no further ado, we'll start with the first story, and this is what I have to say. There's something about the Young Turks, and everybody in this space, pretty much, we're no stranger to the Young Turks. I'm going to sound like a broken record, I know, but the Young Turks pretty much is, most of us got started listening to the Young Turks. We started watching the Young Turks, and we thought they were wonderful. And at one time they may have been, but they've taken a turn to the center, and some people, a lot of people left them. Some for the worse, some for the better. But people leave that network, and it's usually not under the best of terms. We're talking about Dave Rubin, who's worse than the Young Turks. He is in his Republican bubble. We're talking about Jimmy Dore, who left the Young Turks because he was too far left for the Young Turks, but they managed to try to call him right wing. But fingers are pointing at somebody else at the Young Turks currently as right wing or headed in that direction, seemingly in terms of grift. Some people got canned by the Young Turks. Your Jordan Sheraton, I believe he was canned from the Young Turks. I'm not sure. I know he left the Young Turks under bad terms, and he gripes about it. And I think Kyle Kalinske was also canned by the Young Turks. So the Young Turks seems to have a kind of, they don't really have. And there's one guy that left the Young Turks. Young lady, a trans woman that left the Young Turks because of Anna Kasparian's shenanigans and her transphobia. So so you see not all is well at the Young Turks right now. Um, so we're gonna start with them. Anna Kasparian started having conversations with Ben Shapiro. As much as I don't like Ben Shapiro, I don't have a problem with her talking to Ben Shapiro. I don't have a problem with left wing people and right wing people having dialogues. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. What I have a problem with is that the money on the right wing gets flashed around a lot of people, and then all of a sudden they start changing their ideology. And it's happened to quite a few people. And other people had been offered money and they have turned it down too. So, and but there's something that's been going on in the last few years, and it's not because the left are terrible or the left are evil and the left are just wrong. It's because the right wing's got the money. They got the money and they bribe people and like it's a shiny new object, and they go into a terrible direction. The very first prominent example was Dave Rubin. He went into that direction, and he's actually the worst of them all. There are others out there. Tim Pool went into that direction. Karen Borisenko, I believe that's her name, she went into that direction. Ariel Scarcella went into that direction. I believe Blair White went into that direction. Who else? A couple of folks that went into that direction. Candace Owens went into that direction. They all came out of some kind of liberal left or progressive, what have you, beginnings, and all of a sudden they changed their politics overnight. Others lately, like Russell Brand, have changed his politics, and Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I have a little bit of empathy for Tulsi Gabbard because Tulsi Gabbard was pushed there by Hillary Clinton because a conservative Democrat pushed her to the right. Same thing with Robert F. Kennedy. They pushed him into the Trump camp. They pushed Tulsi Gabbard also into the Trump camp. I don't particularly like that they got pushed in there. I don't like the fact that they're pro-Trump, but they were pushed in there. And for them, I have maybe just an ounce of empathy, even though I despise what they became. So there is that. So the Vanguard, which I have my issues with the Vanguard in a lot of ways, but I think that they've been getting a little bit better lately. They were getting kind of sorry for a while, and now they're getting a little bit better. Although they had their moments. They were commenting on the civil war going on between Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian, and the fact that Sam Seder showed up on the Temple podcast and was giving his 2 cents. And Lord have mercy, I'm finding myself in agreement with Sam Seder, and I'm not particularly a strong Sam Seder fan. I have not really been a Sam Seder cheerleader. Not that we should be cheerleaders for any of these folks, but I've not been an avid, Sam Seder, fan for many years. Not because I disagree with what I have to say. I think that we all agree with most of these people on policies. It's just some of their little shit libby aspects about them that kind of ruin what good they could provide in their analysis and all of that. So, and I'm kind of mad at Sam Seder because when it came to force a vote, he reluctantly decided, well, in spite of it being a Jimmy Dore idea, which it wasn't a Jimmy Dore idea, it was a DSA idea initially, but Jimmy Dore brought it up. He decided to go with it. Then he decided that he was against it, because I guess he must have thought that his hatred of Jimmy Dore was more important than having Medicare for all. So there is that as well. So anyway, here are the Vanguard boys talking about Sam Seder and Tim Pool talking about the feud going on between Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur and why she's leaving the left. Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian. the Fred Flintstone and Wilma Flintstone of the online left.
So many former liberals are now leaving the left.
I mean, people switch parties and ideologies.
Not happening the other way around.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well,
like Anna where's a big right-wing pundit who joined a liberal network, like Anna Kasparian announcing she's leaving the left? You know what I mean?
Hunter Avalon, which he's kind of a shit lib, but he became buddy with Bosch. Not really a very positive example. I understand that, but he started off as some scuzzy right-wing hack, and he actually went into a more left-leaning direction, kind of in the Destiny direction, Destiny, Xander Hall, Bosch sort of universe. I guess that's better than being Ben Shapiro, but it's, you know, he's not all that really all that impressive.
Or Dave Rubin.
I mean, listen, I if you want to say that these are like the intellectual pillars of
no, certainly not. I'm saying something's causing an emotional rift that makes people not want to be on the left anymore.
Well, I would suggest it's probably cash.
I mean, like Kasparian wanted money.
She said as much, as far as I know, in the past on TYT.
She said she would make more money by being not leftist.
I don't know if she said that.
She didn't exactly say that. She at one time made it clear that she was jealous of Shank's nephew, Hassan Piker, for being a gamer streamer, making money, you know, so easily as a streamer, whereas she has to go and, you know, basically do her homework, you know, as a journalist, executive producer for TYT and everything. And she kind of resents that, you know, and there is partly that, but, you know, oh, well.
I mean, but I know that on her show on TYT, they have she's complained about not making money. I don't know why she's
still on TYT. Like, are they going to lose members who are progressives?
I gotta be honest with you, I don't really pay that much attention to like show bits.
Well, so outside of her, why are there so many people?
Liar, you pay attention to it, Sam, because you talk about Jimmy Dore like there's no tomorrow, and a couple of times a week when I used to watch Majority Report on frequent occasions. I don't really watch Majority Report anymore, but when I did, you couldn't stop talking about Jimmy Dore. And I think by 2021, 2022, I kind of just weeded off of even watching it, even on a part-time basis. Maybe once in a blue moon, I'll see a headline or something. I'll catch it and what have you. But anyway,
people like, you have the meme from Colin Wright where it shows the left going all the way to the far left and liberals being like, "What's happening?"
I don't know who Colin Wright is.
Sure, there's many prominent personalities who used to be liberals and now identify as moderates or disaffected liberals or post-liberal.
Like you're saying, like a substantial.
Can I talk about
in an election?
Most charitable manner, right? It's easy and cavalier to say it's cash. And I think it all does boil down to that. But I also think one reason why you see people leave the left and run to the right, and you don't see too many people leave the right and run to the left, you might see them run to the mainstream Democratic Party, which is the new right, the Reagan right. But you're not going to see them run to the left, right? So I don't want to hear about Joe Scarborough being an example or Chris Christie being an example, right? What happens is, as you gain prominence as a left commentator, as a left media figure, right? We've talked about it. You gain the privilege of being an advocate instead of somebody who needs advocacy, right? You are no longer impacted in a material way by any of the things you're discussing. That's why Anna Kasparian stopped caring about anything tangible except for what immediately impacted her. Homeless people, crime, trans women somehow invalidating her perception of womanhood, you know, the birthing person thinks these very much.
And that's something I don't get about Anna Kasparian with the birthing person statement. She doesn't have kids, and she appears to be not interested in having kids, which, in my view, anybody who decides not to have kids, that's a pretty damn smart decision to make, because world's overpopulated. Different story, subject for another time. But what I'm trying to make is, who cares if there's a goofy term that's been used called birthing person or individual with a uterus or whatever that was being used, bonus hole. Who fucking cares? How does it affect her? Honestly, how does it affect her? How does it affect her any more than a straight dude like myself if two dudes down the street get married or shack up? Not one bit. So yeah, I don't understand how Anna Kasparian decided that being a turf is the way to go. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Mild, totally superfluous things. Frankly, when you're talking about it from Anna Kasparian's perspective, how they impact her life, right? Like way more serious to think about how being unhoused impacts an unhoused person. Being a vulnerable, mentally unwell person on the streets, a lot harder than having to look at one, right?
Yeah, about the homelessness problem in California. There's a time that Young Turks go to talk about, well, the cure for homelessness is providing people a home. But, they're talking about, using law and order now and shit like that. I mean, if they're trying to appeal to normies, there's got to be an effective way to appeal to moderate normies than trying to borrow some of the conservative talking points. That's what the Democratic Party did in the 1990s with the DLC bullshit. This is like the online version left of this shit. And Cenk Ugart's borrowed on those themes too. Not as overtly as Anna Kasparian, perhaps, but he's touched on those themes.
And so what happens is, as you get move further and further away from the issues that you're closest to, right? You run to the coast, you start hanging out with a bunch of rich people because you're rich now. You want to go to nice restaurants. You want to have a Versace bag, and it makes you feel uncomfortable if you're hanging out with people who can't afford Versace bags. So you move yourself into a different social circle, and those people then rub off on you. And then you will start to indulge in your reactionary thoughts because you're not anchored to any kind of collectivism or solidarity, and it moves yourself. And then that's all lubricated. That's all aided by the fact that you're now awash with cash, and you're being celebrated by a new demographic, which always makes you feel good.
Yep. Also, I mean, Sam Cedar is just 100% right. They do it for money. Yeah, Tim Pool knows that as well as any of these grifters. He knows how phenomenally wealthy being a right-wing commentator has made him. We just found out about the Tinted Media thing. How much money was he getting paid per video? Like $100,000? They're not offering that to left-wingers. They're not offering that to left-wing commentators. And also, yeah, Anna, over and over again on her own show, this isn't us, reading her body language. No, she has said it multiple times. We have reacted to it multiple times. I don't make enough money. I want to make more money. I'm jealous of other people and other colleagues, other people who used to work at TYT, who left TYT and now make more money being right-wing grifters, right? This is something she's identified. Go back and watch her videos where she talked about Dave Rubin leaving the left, and she understood this at the time. She talks about it in those videos. She says, yeah, of course he's doing this because the left is not where the money is at.
Now, with regard to her critique of Dave Rubin, I could see a jealousy factor considering how dumb Dave Rubin is and how much money he's made, being a dumb right-wing grifter. Prager cash, in my view, probably got dangled in front of him. I think that he's one of those folks with the deep pockets, in my view. And, if it isn't Dennis Prager, it's somebody else. They're dangling a lot of money in front of these people. I understand that. Now, I'm not particularly keen on David Pakman in the year 2024. And there are things that I do find wrong ideologically with David Pakman, but he's not gone to the other side. And he's been offered cash because he comes across as smart and intellectual and very well reasoned or what have you. And because of that, he's been offered cash, and he said that he's turned it down. Well, good for him. And there are things I have a problem with David Pakman. I have a problem with his duopoly bullshit. Okay, I don't have a problem with him as a human being. He seems like a nice guy, but I have a problem with his duopoly positioning. He wants to fight the establishment in a polite way. He wants a job at MSNBC. That's what it comes down to, there's a list of things that I find objectionable about David Pakman, but thankfully he's not going to become, a right-wing hack. Kim Iverson, whose politics on the left is on a different area of the left from David Pakman. In her response, in her situation, likewise, she was offered a lot of cash, for what I understand. I think it was a conversation she had with Nico House years ago, where she was talking about being offered cash to go to the right or something, and she also turned it down. Some people think she is right wing. I don't, just like David Pakman, but for different reasons. I don't agree with Kim Iverson on some fundamental issues, but I respect her. And I think that what it is with Kim Iverson that people don't quite get is the fact that she has very libertarian tendencies that she's kind of fused in with her left progressive value system, and that kind of confuses a lot of people. But I understand it. I understand it. There are some major areas where I'm actually sympathetic to what she has to say. Some areas she's a little out to lunch on too. But I think that people are more harsh on her than they need to be. They need to be. And some people think she's right wing or whatever. She's made it clear, unless she's changed her position, that she is supporting Jill Stein for president. So I don't think you're much of a right winger if that's where you're at, in my view. But we'll let this video go on.
The money's on the right. It's easy as hell to make a shit ton of money being a brain dead, talentless right-wing hack commentator. Tim Pool has no talent. Tim Pool's barely compelling to listen to. Same with...
Yeah, you're right about that. Seeing paint dry is more exciting than listening to Tim Pool.
Dave Rubin, but they're way, way richer than people.
Dave Rubin is dumb as a box of rocks. He's so dumb as a box of rocks that even Joe Rogan wouldn't have him back. And I've been I have my issues with Joe Rogan. In some ways, people beat up too much on Joe Rogan, but I have some issues with Joe Rogan too. Now, I also think that Joe Rogan's been pushed to the right in a lot of ways by some pious liberals out there, for some reason, not liking him and trying to find fault in him. I think that they would have left him alone. He could have been more on a left-wing trajectory than where he's at right now. I mean, they pushed him into Alex Jones camp, like a soft Alex Jones is where he's kind of at. And it didn't need to be that way. It really didn't need to be that way. The guy endorsed Bernie Sanders 4 years ago. It didn't need to be that way.
On the left, who are genuinely talented and who are actually compelling commentators.
Even Jimmy is probably richer than Anna at this point, which
Oh, yeah.
shows how low the bar is, because he's utterly talentless. But we can play the rest of this because I bet it gets better.
Or what
Elon
do you-
Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. Not going to call them
why
progressive.
are billionaires becoming conservatives?
I didn't say they're becoming conservatives.
Why are billionaires?
Who were previously supporting Democrat politicians now aligning with.
Well, I would say, I mean, when you're talking about Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, I would say Lena Khan, head of the FTC. I would say John Cantor at the DOJ antitrust.
Why? So
I think
I
money,
agree with you.
money,
absolutely.
money is
I think.
threatened by any type of sort of liberal stuff.
But why did they support Democrats before?
Why did they?
Yeah.
Well, because I think the Democrats went through a period of neoliberalism, and Joe Biden frankly ended that. There's a ton of never-Trumpers
Sure.
in the Republican Party.
I agree.
I don't necessarily want them to influence
All right.
our policy.
I'll completely agree with you on the.
Just
Amen, Sam. I that's the problem with the Democratic Party today. with them embracing Dick Liz Cheney. You know, you have never Trumpers now kind of coming into the Democratic Party, and it's going to turn the Democratic Party into basically the Bush Cheney style Republican Party, but with a rainbow flag behind them. That's what's kind of happening right now. So
Disagree with your assessment. You're just looking at
Right. No, you're
Dave
completely
Rubin
right
and
about
Kasparian
Zuckerberg.
as some type of measure of stuff.
But you've got people like Eric Weinstein, for instance, who says the craziness primarily coming from the left. Well, you Eric woman.
Hold on a second here. Let me do this for a moment. Yeah, you can see what's going on with you can see what's going on with the grifting, and it's people should see right through it. I mean, it was one thing to be Dave Rubin 4 or 5 years ago. It was different. It was different seeing it was different seeing people like Dave Rubin or Ariel Scarcella or somebody doing this or Tim Pool at first or what have you. But when they're coming out of the woodwork doing this bullshit, and you got people on the the conservative side gloating. And you got a gullible center out there listening to this. They're like, well, I guess there must be something to the left being toxic that they go to the right, because I guess the right must be better. And the left needs to do a better job of trying to fight this and let the people know what a fucking grift is. And they need to do a better job. It's not our fault that this is happening. It's happening because there are people out there. They're trying to destroy the movement. So let's go ahead and continue. All right.
And feeling like I'm no longer the young Turk, in this instance, quite literally. And for the longest time, she was considered the leftiest lefty on YouTube. No one was a more lefty commentator than Anna Kasparian, right? But all of a sudden, now there's younger, newer, and leftier channels out there. People like us and commentators like Olayemi Lauren, who all of a sudden are saying things that Anna's like, well, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. I don't know if I'm this progressive. I don't know if I'm this left wing. And all of a sudden that creates a dynamic where it's like, oh shit, I'm not the leftiest person anymore. Now I have this left flank that's calling me out or that's criticizing me. And what do you do in reaction to that? Well, if you're a cringy, bitter Karen like Anna Kasparian, then you readjust your entire politics in a reactionary way. That's what we've seen happen. But again, this happens to people who are commentators and just normal folks as they get older. Oftentimes bitterness and simply being out of touch leads them towards the right wing, right? The less you associate with young people after you graduate school and you're kind of in your own bubble, in your echo chamber, yeah, all of a sudden you're not getting exposed to new culture, to new ideas, to new ways of progressive thinking. And you do become stuck in your ways. And again, that oftentimes leads to a reactionary outlook where you think, oh, my generation was the last one to understand society. My generation was the last one to understand a true vision of progressivism. And anything to the left of that is now a crazy, this is just young Zoomers who want to take this off the cliff or something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. And we actually have some breaking news, everybody. Let's take a look here. It looks like Cenk Uygur saw the clip we just reacted to and has come out swinging. At this point, Sam Cedar is just a gross liar, and I never said she wants to leave the left for money. When he's pressed on it, he claims ignorance. Then why did you lie about it? We lost subscribers and money because we acted out of principle. Something Sam wouldn't understand. I ran for Congress. I busted a union. I ran a failed presidency for campaign for presidency. Okay, it ran our network into the ground. Okay, and that's why my co-host is leaving. And that's why she's running to the right. Okay, it ain't because of anything else.
This is so embarrassing. Holy shit! Thank you for finding this crazy stuff. So now Cenk has entered the ring. We have a full-on lefty civil war. Cenk Uygur versus Sam Cedar. Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian versus Sam Cedar. This is crazy, guys. This is crazy. And obviously, Cenk is, he's freaking out because he knows that Sam is 100% correct. And he, can you go back to the preview real quick? Sorry. Yeah. So, obviously, Sam Cedar is correct, but he has to now perform this outrage and pretend to call out Sam Cedar and defend Anna Kasparian, even though Sam is just saying what we all obviously know. Even Cenk knows what's happening. You can see it in his body language. You can see it in the way he responds to Anna's BS talking points, like we did earlier in the show. He knows what's going on. But for whatever reason, instead of doing what needs to be done, he's going to keep defending her until she really, truly does take the whole network down with her.
Anywhere you go, I'll follow you too. I'll
follow you down.
Wow, that's crazy though.
Yeah. Anyway, we can play the rest of this if we have any. But yeah, it doesn't look like Jenks followed up. Well, I was making sure he didn't reply to his own tweet. Oh, actually, he did. Finally, I was like, I want to make sure we get all that Jenks tweets in case he deletes anything. This is the dumbest point in the world. At this point, you are just a grifter asshat. He says, this is the dumbest point in the world. How is losing money out of principle of grift? This is exactly what we did in the Obama years, too. We lost a lot of subscribers because we criticized Obama from the left. We do these things because we care what's true. A novel concept. Yep. I love it when you criticize Trump from the left, too. You're like, is he fascist? I don't even think he's a wannabe dictator. Half of your network, Jenk, your co-host, yeah, she's not a progressive. So you don't get to call yourself the home of progressives and then melt down when people criticize you for not being progressive. Rebrand. Call yourself Jenk and Anna Network. Call yourself the left. It's too left for me. Call yourself the fence-sitting post. I don't care.
Yeah, 100%. That's
Well, the thing about it is that starting in 2016, when they had the Katzenberg money coming in, and Jeffrey Katzenberg is a Clinton donor, I started to notice the quality of the Young Turks going downhill. It started going downhill with Russiagate and Trump this and Trump that. And there are things to criticize Trump about. I want to make this clear. There are things that you can criticize Trump about. A million things you can criticize Trump about. But going after him on Russia and things of that nature. Now, I mean, they're not as stupid about it as, let's say, CNN or MSNBC or whatever outlet out there that will sit there and talk about Trump eating steak with ketchup or something along those lines. I mean, that's ridiculous, or even the proverbial, oh, he plays golf too much. I get so tired of hearing politicians, people, hacks out there accusing the president that they don't like, from George Herbert Walker Bush Sr. to Joe Biden today. If he plays golf, I don't even know if he plays golf or not. Don't care. Oh, they're too busy playing golf. I remember when I was at work about 10 years ago when Benjamin Netanyahu came to speak in joint session of Congress, and somebody got on me about how Obama, as if I was an Obama supporter, Obama would not go and meet Benjamin Netanyahu. He decided he would rather play golf. And I told this person, I said, hey, if I had a choice between playing golf and hobnobbing with Benjamin Netanyahu, give me golf any day. Honestly, why the hell would I want to hobnob with Benjamin Netanyahu? And anyway, that's beside the subject. But just pointing that out. But as I said, this whole notion that this meltdown, the stupid meltdowns they were having. I mean, and I mean, honestly, I think that the Young Turks went too far nuts on the Trump derangement syndrome. And while I do not think that Jimmy Dore is a right-wing grifter like others have claimed, I do think that he probably was a little bit light on the criticism of Trump than he needed to be, although he has actually criticized Trump on some occasions. And so somebody had told me, Jimmy Dore never criticizes Trump. He never criticizes the Republicans. No, there are plenty of videos you can watch where he's actually criticized. Well, he definitely criticized the Republicans. But he's not, it's true that he has not criticized Trump perhaps as much as he needs to. But, again, I'll have to call bullshit on both teams on that one, but that's just my perspective. I've been accused by right wingers of suffering from the most over the top style of Trump derangement syndrome that the libtards suffer from, and I have been accused by shit libs and even some on the left who are in on that TDS bandwagon of having secretly liking Trump or something, which Trump is your standard Republican president. He's loud and more bombastic, and and it's funny sometimes. So I mean, so you got no choice other than to laugh at it because it's just like it's so just so not the usual what you expect from politicians who sit there and tone police. And so it comes across as funny sometimes. I mean, some serious shit, but it comes across as funny. But but as I said, the TYT, they went into this real meltdown that I felt like needed to be more concerned about getting Bernie Sanders the nomination in 2020 than to be concerned about this Trump derangement syndrome bullshit. That I just kind of felt that way. But that was my perspective at the time. Not that I'm defending Bernie Sanders today, but I'm talking about from the perspective of back then. So we'll let these guys continue.
That's crazy again, because you're a failed grifter. Because Dana's a failed grifter. She's not good at doing what she's trying to do. But guess what? She's still going to become phenomenally wealthy. Not so much you, Jank. The TYT is not going to ultimately be the one who benefits financially from what Anna Kasparian is doing. Anna Kasparian is going to be the one who benefits. You're just too stupid to see it right now, and you still think you can somehow turn this into a W for your own network, which is the real delusional thing about this. Jank, Anna is leaving you. She's leaving TYT. The marriage is ended, bro. She's already contacted a divorce lawyer.
Yep. And Shank Uger is the Fred Flintstone on the online left, and she's the Wilma of the online left, and her lawyer is Ben Shapiro, her divorce lawyer.
You're still out here defending her wretched behavior? You're still out here defending the indefensible and gaslighting everyone, including totally reasonable people like Sam Cedar? This is absolutely outrageous, Jake. You have to rip the Band-Aid off at some point. You have to realize that you cannot go down with her.
I don't know about Sam Cedar being reasonable. He may have been reasonable in his dialogue with Tim Pool, but I don't know if he's reasonable as a general rule. Because he's got some odious views when it comes to how to forward the progressive movement, and it's not worked. But anyway.
You cannot save yourself. Save TYT. There's still time. What is this?
That's enough of that. So that was from the Vanguard. And as I said, Anna Kasparian, probably in the next 4 or 5 years, will she become the next Dave Rubin, or will she become Dave Rubin light, meaning that she's not going to be a Republican hack, sucking Trump's cock if Trump becomes president, or basically just becoming the next Ann Coulter type or what have you? Would she be more like Bill Maher, like a normie Democrat thinking, well, the left is just too crazy, asking for woke things like Medicare for all and getting us out of these neocon wars and just asking for a minimum wage increase, demanding it. How dare they? Would she be calling that woke? Because that's exactly what Bill Maher tends to do, and so whether she's headed in the direction of Dave Rubin or Bill Maher, it's not a good direction either way, but she's headed in that direction. So, and my question is this: Anna Kasparian said that Jimmy Dore is turning right wing. The Vanguard says Anna Kasparian is turning right wing. So, if it's true that Jimmy Dore is turning right wing, and if it's true that Anna Kasparian is turning right wing, and my personal sentiment is that Jimmy Dore is not turning right wing. I don't agree with him on everything, but he's not turning right wing. But if he is turning right wing, and Anna Kasparian is turning right wing, in that scenario, do they make up and kiss up and become friends again, like is the year 2014, 2015, and like it's like they were back in the days of the Young Turks, but they're in the right wing camp now? Is that how it works? Is that how it will work? Are they gonna be on each other's show when she ultimately leaves the Young Turks? How's this going to work? You know, is she going to hobnob with Alex Jones? You know, is she going to do this? I mean, we want to know one way or the other. So anyway, let's go with the next story. And as you know, it's been driving me crazy about the Democrats, you know, because here's the thing. It's the 2024 election. With this 2024 election, it's like a repeat of 2016, except there's no talk of that menacing Medicare for all that the right wing are so scared of, and the shit libs and the corporate Democrats wish, oh my God, would that issue just go away? They got their wish; it went away. You're not hearing them talk about. You're not hearing talk about Medicare for all anymore. You're not even hearing talk about the Protect the Right to Organize Act. You're not hearing any of this talk, economic populism that you were hearing several years ago. And it's so frustrating. We're back to the days where the Democratic Party was neoliberal. People can sit there and tell me how far to the left of the Democratic Party is, but it's the Democratic Party far left when they're sitting there, you know, licking the asshole of Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney? Is that left wing? There was a time when Dick Cheney was viewed as Trump before Trump, according to Glenn Green. Those are Glenn Greenwald's work. Trump before Trump. That's an accurate way to look at it. We hated Dick Cheney. I remember this. It was whether you were a corporate Democrat or whether you were a left-wing Democrat, whatever, whether you were the Green Party, whether you were an independent person that was with left-wing politics, it was kind of agreed. You looked at Dick Cheney and you were just like, what a piece of fucking shit he is. And we hated the guy. We all had that in common. We look at that motherfucker who was the toast of Rush Limbaugh at that time. And, you know, a war criminal, a corporatist, you know, just an all-around asshole. He endorsed Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris is bragging about it. You know, the Liz Cheney endorsement, the Dick Cheney endorsement. War criminals that they are. War criminals. You remember that photo op of 2018, I think it was, where George W. Bush is being hugged by Michelle Obama? And again, I'm paraphrasing Jimmy Dore, where he says that liberals used to hate Ralph Nader because he supposedly gave us Bush, but now that the Democrats and the liberals are okay with Bush, they somehow still hate Ralph Nader. Let me update that. Let me update it for you. When Hillary Clinton ran for president in 2016, the Democrats hated Bernie Sanders. Now that Dick Cheney has been embraced by the Democrats, Liz Cheney's been embraced by the Democrats, they still hate Bernie Sanders, the Democrats. See where I'm going with this? So, and again, I know some of y'all are mad at Bernie Sanders, and it's all justified. The anger is justified. But I'm using Bernie Sanders as an example because Bernie Sanders is still kind of viewed as the man on the left that's the punching bag in the mainstream political world. When Roe versus Wade was overturned, instead of saying, well, it was because we didn't codify Roe versus Wade. No, they didn't say that. They said it was Bernie Sanders. It was the Bernie bros that caused Hillary Clinton to win the election. That's what they said. It was shit like that. So oh, listen to Bernie Sanders with his anti-establishment talk, just like Trump. No, they're not alike, but that's how they were trying to do this sort of thing back then. And now they're sitting there embracing Dick and Liz Cheney. No talk of a public option coming from Kamala Harris. You don't even hear anything from Tim Walz about that issue. You would think that Tim Walz would be talking about it, but nothing is being talked about it. They're not talking about these things. This is the Democrats going back to the garbage. The garbage that was trying to be. They were trying to clean up that garbage. There was a movement to try to clean up the garbage inside the Democratic Party. The garbage is still there. It's still there. The Clinton control of the party, they have won. They still controlled everything. And so the Democratic Party, I'm sorry, the Democratic Party cannot be rehabilitated, cannot be reformed. When you're embracing Dick and Liz Cheney, if that's not a sign that the Democratic Party can be reformed, I don't know what it will take. Because if you're willing to go and you have a party that still hates Bernie Sanders, but they are just bragging about Dick and Liz Cheney, that's a party that's just going to go for the right. Along with as the Republicans go into fascism, the Democrats go into Reagan-Bush territory. They've been into Reagan and Bush 1 territory for many years. Now they're about ready to enter Bush-Cheney territory. And that's where we're at. The Overton window just inches further and further to the right. But you got some mean girls. They're angry with each other. Liz Cheney and Senator Lindsey Graham. These two high school mean girls are angry with each other. So I do not know who this person is. Let me go get the link out. His name is Jack Cochirella, and I'm butchering the hell out of his name. He's actually kind of boring, so it doesn't matter. But the only thing that was interesting is the cat fight, the girl fight between Lindsey Graham and Liz Cheney. So Lindsey Graham melts down over Liz Cheney. And frankly, when Lindsey Graham is angry, I'm happy. Because anything that can piss him off makes me happy. So let's go ahead and listen to this video, and we will discuss in just a moment. Let me get the speed. Let me put it on 1.25, and let's go.
Republicans are still trying to do everything they can to cover up for insane watch the threat that Donald Trump made against Liz Cheney's life the other night at an interview with Tucker Carlson in Arizona. And one Republican who went out of his way to try to do this, maybe the most dishonest of them all, was Lindsey Graham, who appeared on Fox in a state of desperation and was swearing at Liz Cheney because he is so upset with her and so upset with the state of the race. Lindsey Graham was crumbling in his appearance on Fox. It was an absolute nightmare for him and for Donald Trump. And we're going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already, and you want to support our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. And it really means the world to me. Now, before we get into Lindsey Graham's meltdown, I want to see Jake Tapper shut down a different MAGA senator's defense of this disgusting attack on Liz Cheney in this clip right here. What are you doing, Anna?
Let me say this. It is not a disgusting attack on Liz Cheney. There's nothing disgusting about verbally attacking Liz Cheney. Because Liz Cheney is an evil individual. She's evil. She's fucking evil. I just want to go and make that clear. So anyway, let's go ahead, and I just want to make that clear. We'll get back to what we need to talk about.
mean, we've seen Mr. Trump's campaign in putting out press releases trying to clarify what he said. Mr. Trump put out a Truth Social statement. He just said something about this. Obviously, whether or not everybody hears the message, and we ran the clip. We ran the whole clip, and we're not saying he's calling for her to be assassinated or killed. I think the issue is the very violent imagery at a time when Republicans are saying, Democrats need to tone down the rhetoric. Are you?
He didn't say she should be executed. I mean, he did not say that. Honestly, he really did not say that. I'm not defending Trump. I don't have any plans to vote for him. But honestly, if you listen to what he said, he did not say that. He did not say that.
Worried at all politically that this is going to be decided by a handful of voters in a handful of states that this could hurt. Let me just say this, Jake. War is serious. War is deadly. He was making that point with this analogy. I think that's what's here. That's the point here. What we're talking about, though, is the fact that President Trump is actually winning. Voters would much prefer to hear about what Kamala Harris's position is on the economy, what she's going to do to fix our broken southern border, to take crime in our streets down, to make our nation more safe and secure. Rather than talk about that, we're going to blow up yet another one of these stories into some sort of pre-election day hoax. I think we should move on. I don't know how you define hoax. This is not a hoax. We ran this clip, and there are people who are legitimately offended by that. It's a distortion, Jake. This is. I ran the entire quote, Senator. We ran the entire thing. I have not distortion about violence. And the violence he's talking about is the violence that perpetrated on our men and women in service, and the decisions that are made by people like Liz Cheney to send them into the throes. Liz Cheney was an assistant secretary of state. When did she send anyone to the mail?
She was an assistant secretary of state during the Bush-Cheney years, so she has her hand involved with war crimes. You ought to know that.
I think President Trump is making a broad statement, using her as an example of the war hawks in Washington that make these decisions from the comfort of an office, perhaps not taking into account the fact that there are very serious consequences. Those consequences are realized by those people that are in the foxhole, those people that are actually in combat situations. That's what he was illustrating. So you think that anyone that takes issue with him invoking, let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her when the guns aren't trained on her face, you think anyone that takes issue with that is either perpetrating or falling victim to a hoax?
Okay. If you're given a rifle, that's not an execution. If somebody's if you're being shot at, I mean, he's talking about her in a battlefield situation. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about her being combat ready for battle. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about having her executed. It would be pretty stupid to put somebody facing a firing squad and giving them a gun. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? There are so many things you could go and attack Trump policy-wise on, and you're going to go and take these words and manipulate it around. And he uses violent rhetoric, but I wouldn't say that in that context, I would not interpret it as violent. He's basically saying that she's a war hawk. Now, Trump is not that great on foreign policy. You're not exactly a peacenik when you're going around assassinating an Iranian general like Qasem Soleimani with that drone strike, I believe in January 2020, or toppling the government of Evo Morales in Bolivia with the what's her name, Janine I forgot her name. She wanted to be a dictator. I would have been able to remember her name about a minute ago. The one that looks like a porn star. Yeah, you had what was this thing? You had the Juan Guaido, who was appointed president of Venezuela by Donald Trump. What authority does he have to declare somebody a president that was not voted for as president? So, and they trying to topple the government of Venezuela. That's not being a peacenik. Trump is not being a peacenik. But is he correct to go after Liz Cheney and her dad? Absolutely. Absolutely, he's correct to go after them. It has my blessing to go after them. He's absolute. I mean, on that one, I'm with him. I'm 200% with him on going after Liz Cheney as far as the criticism is concerned. And no, I do not want I do not want her to be harmed, anything. I just want her and her dad to be arrested and put in prison for crimes against humanity. That's all I want. That's all I want. That's nothing crazy. Nothing, I mean, I don't even favor torture. I'm against torture. But I favor prison for them.
No one can legitimately say that's violent imagery at a time. What's a distortion? I read that. This is a distortion of this is a distortion of what President Trump meant, and you know it. President Trump wasn't calling for any type of violence on Liz Cheney. I didn't say he was talking about was her to consider the
yes, that's what you were saying. You were saying that
violence that anybody that we put into that circumstance might face. It's as simple as that. We need to get back to talking about the fact that President Trump is the only person that's on the ballot that can actually fix the damage that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have done over the past 4 years.
The damages that was done by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden was also done by Donald Trump, and Mike Pence was also done by Barack Obama and George W. Bush and Bill Clinton and the first George Bush and Ronald Reagan and on and on and on. Because none of you motherfuckers who are just anti-suit and ties in Washington, D.C. have the answers to what needs to help the American people.
And all of this talk and campaign for like Kamala Harris about what she's going to do, well, she hasn't done it. President Trump already has. People are asking themselves this basic question: am I better off today under Kamala Harris than I was under President Trump? That's why I'm moving the polls away. That's why.
Honestly, when I hear "Are you better off?" "Are you better off?" You know what? I'll say this: I'm just as well off as I was in the late 1990s. I'm not poor. I'm not wealthy. I am what you would call middle class. And any improvement that has been made financially in my life has nothing to do with who's occupying the White House. Because there are things that you do in your day-to-day life that an act of Congress or an act of the presidency doesn't affect. I'm talking about economic decisions, economic planning, that sort of thing. It's not that you elect somebody and the moment they're sworn in, just like you waving a magic wand, things are better or things are worse. It doesn't work that way. It's such a simple mindset. It's Neanderthal, simple-minded, partisan thinking. Things don't magically get better or worse because the guy you like or dislike is in the Oval Office, or the party that you like or dislike are the majority in Congress at the moment. It doesn't work that way.
There's a best way to come up with this stuff. So that's what I heard from Democrats the other day when we were playing how Joe Biden called Trump supporters garbage. I got the same response back that this is all nonsense. It's a distraction. We're not covering the real issues. It's the closing days of the campaign. People say stupid things. They're going to cover it. But you didn't say it, Senator. So I hope you come back and we can talk about some substantive issues after the election. It's good to see you. And the important issues. God bless on that. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. As the nation comes up on the final days of early voting, we're talking.
They are really doing everything they possibly can to try to wash Donald Trump, to try to make excuses, to try to pit this on Liz Cheney.
Liz Cheney's worse than Donald Trump. That's what you don't understand. That's what you don't understand. And Liz Cheney voted with Donald Trump majority of the time. She was one of those Republican members of Congress that voted with Trump the majority of the time, like 93% of the time. And you're defending Liz Cheney? Even on the culture war bullshit, Liz Cheney is much closer to Marjorie Taylor Greene on LGBTQ rights, for example, than Donald Trump. Donald Trump is closer to a standard Democrat on LGBTQ rights than Liz Cheney is. And you're acting like he's Satan incarnate, and you're acting like Liz Cheney is this wonderful, benevolent figure. And my understanding is that the candidate that replaced her in Wyoming has a more moderate voting record, even though she's a Trump bootlicker. She has a more moderate voting record than Liz Cheney.
Did she do wrong? I can't even come up with some argument that they're trying to make here. It is just utter nonsense. And you can see how nonsensical and dishonest Lindsey Graham trying to flip this on Liz Cheney is, trying to say that she abandoned the conservative movement because she wants to conserve democracy. That seems pretty
Liz Cheney wants to conserve democracy. You know what a neocon is? A neocon is somebody who claims that they're pro-Western democracy as they go and crush democracies abroad.
In line with what you would want to do, not just abandon all your values like you have, Lindsay, spineless individual. But we don't need to hear my thoughts on Lindsay. We want to see a meltdown.
If you knew that
You know, I remember for a brief moment when Lindsey Graham was all on the anti-Trump bandwagon in 2016. I remember that very well. And it was funny seeing him have his little meltdowns. In fact, I was so humored by it. I mean, and then he ended up becoming the most obnoxious bootlicker. He became the most obnoxious bootlicker on when it came to Trump. And I guess when he was no longer John McCain's bitch. When John McCain died, he decided to become Donald Trump's new bitch. So, it is what it is. And but anytime he has a meltdown, anytime he's angry, I'm talking about Lindsey Graham, I'm all for it. I take delight in his anger, his mental anguish, his stress, his mental suffering.
Here, my thoughts on Lindsay. We want to see a meltdown. So let's check out this clip right here.
Liz Cheney, she's selling out conservatism to stay relevant. She got waxed in Wyoming, got defeated like a drum, beat like a drum. And she's campaigning with Kamala Harris. You're telling me you're pro-life and you want this lady to be president?
Are you pro-life, Lindsey Graham, when you support the blowing up of babies in Gaza?
Who believes in abortion up to the moment of birth?
Don't ever talk to me about pro-life and abortion. All you evangelicals who sit there and suck Benjamin Netanyahu's dick and celebrate the slaughter in Gaza and seeing babies getting blown up as if little babies are going to grow up to as if little babies are terrorists or something. There's no pro-life with you people.
Telling me you believe in a strong military when she advocated getting out of Afghanistan, the last person in the room with Biden? You're telling me you...
Yeah, we needed to get out of Afghanistan. And Lindsay, I want you to know this about Afghanistan. Not only did the U.S. need to get out of Afghanistan, back in the 1980s, the Soviets needed to win in Afghanistan. And you know what would have happened if the Soviets would have won in Afghanistan? Maybe we would not have ever had 9/11.
Believe in energy independence, and you want her to be president, stopping oil and gas drilling. So Liz Cheney, don't listen to her. She's selling out conservatism to stay relevant. She's not relevant in terms of conservatism. She no longer has a voice.
Lindsey Graham, you and Liz Cheney are ideologically the same. You are ideologically so similar. You're the same person politically.
As to the Senate, they're trying to destroy Tim Sheehy now, who's leading in Montana, a certified war hero, Navy SEAL, wounded, Purple Heart, Bronze Star with Valor. They're accusing him of lying about his military record, a racist tightening. Please send money through my website, lindseygraham.com. All the money goes to Tim Sheehy to be the 51st senator to get us back to the Senate. He's from Montana. They're trying to destroy him like they did Kavanaugh. Help me help Tim Sheehy get us the Republican majority. Tell every friend you got, if you don't have a friend, go make one, to get them out to the polls. Here's the good news. Kavanaugh won. Trump's going to win. We're going to win the Senate. We're going to push through all this bullshit. And I'm not going to listen to anything she has to say. Liz Cheney, we're not garbage as Trump supporters, and women who support Trump are not dumb garbage. So all I can say, folks.
No, I think you're dumb garbage, Lindsay. I think you're dumb garbage.
This is the election of a lifetime. Liz Cheney is campaigning for Democrats to take back the House. She endorsed Mike Rogers' opponent in Michigan. She endorsed the Democrat to help Democrats take back the Senate. Don't listen to words she says.
So as you can see, Lindsey Graham says that he's not going to put up with any of Liz Cheney's bullshit, and he's not going to have to deal with it. He's going to push through it. He was just kind of desperate, begging for donations to make sure that Republicans can try to flip the Senate, something we absolutely cannot allow it. You can just
anyway, Liz and Lindsay, as far as I'm concerned, that's about that. They're pretty much the same as far as I'm concerned. So just watching him with his meltdowns, just as I said, makes my day. So let's go with the next topic, and the next topic is third parties in the presidential election, a certain third party presidential candidate, and this is from Politico. So and I will follow up with a video. Politico. This is from hold on, let's see. Do we have everything set up here? Do we? Yes, we do. Okay. Right now we have here Europe's Greens ask Jill Stein to pull out of U.S. election to prevent Trump victory. Can you believe that? Quote unquote. The race for the White House is too close for comfort. Right parties from around Europe calling on Stein to throw her support behind Democrat Kamala Harris. What can I say about this? I have a conspiracy theory I'm going to share with y'all if I can remember it after this. Green politicians from across Europe on Friday call on U.S. Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein to withdraw from the race for the White House and endorse Democrat Kamala Harris instead. Quote, "We are clear that Kamala Harris is the only candidate who can block Donald Trump and his anti-democratic authoritarian policies from the White House," unquote. Green parties from across the countries including Germany, France, Denmark, Italy, the Netherlands, Ireland, Estonia, Belgium, Spain, Poland, and Ukraine said in a statement, which was shared with Politico ahead of publication. Stein is on the ballot in almost every critical U.S. state, polls between 1.1% and 1.4%, meaning her candidacy could cost Harris critical vote in the tight race for the White House. Right now, the race for the White House is too close for comfort, quote unquote. The statement said, quote, "We call on Jill Stein to withdraw from the race and endorse Kamala Harris for the presidency of the United States," unquote. But with the election just days away, voters had head to the polls on November 5th, and the relationship between Europe's Greens and Stein's party strained. The police seems unlikely to sway her. Quote, "We are committed to this campaign for the presidency, and we will never betray our legions of supporters and the many supporters who have already cast votes by abandoning our mission now, regardless of which anti-democratic person or group makes the suggestion," unquote. Stein's team said in a statement, quote, "Grassroots democracy is at the core of the Green movement worldwide. And for one group of Greens to tell another to stop participating in democracy is disappointing and unprincipled," unquote. Friday's statement from the European Greens highlighted the divergent values and policies, quote unquote, of the European and U.S. Greens, noting, quote, "There is no link between the two as the U.S. Greens are no longer a member of the global organization of Green parties," unquote. That I did not know. Little statement here. When I was in the Socialist Party, I was surprised when we were not members of the Socialist International either. But I found out as to why later on. The statement attributes to Fisher, quote unquote, to the American Party's relationship with parties with authoritarian leaders and serious policy differences on key issues, including Russia's full-scale assault on the Ukraine, unquote. Stein was criticized for attending a 2015 dinner in Moscow sponsored by Russian state television network RT, where she sat at the same table as President Vladimir Putin. In this statement, the Stein team dismissed the criticism as a quote unquote smear, pointing that the Green Party's Twitter post on the matter a year ago. Yeah, I the very notion that they're trying to go and do the whole Russia smear. With Jill Stein, they did that with Tulsi Gabbard. They did that they even tried doing that to Bernie Sanders. And, anybody who's not party establishment, they get to be smeared as a Russian asset. That's how it works. Well, Nico House has something to say about this, and I'll go ahead and share that video momentarily. Okay. And are we ready for that video? Are we ready? Yes, we are.
Finally, the European Greens have made an endorsement, and I just know they're about to endorse Jill Stein. And they actually tell Jill Stein to not endorse Kamala Harris. Okay, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Instead of endorsing Jill Stein, the actual Green Party candidate, the European Greens decided to endorse Kamala Harris because she's the only one who can block Donald Trump from reaching the White House. And of course, they hit you with that same line: "This is the most important election of our lifetime." Like that's supposed to matter, because the choice is Trump and a possible continuation of genocide, and Kamala, a guaranteed continuation of genocide. So maybe it is the most important election of our lifetime, but not for the reason that they're talking about. But look how they go into detail this endorsement. The Green Party family is made up of Green parties across Europe that advocates for politics that prioritizes the planet, people in peace above corporate greed, systemic injustice, and violence. So y'all wrote all of that, and your conclusion was, Jill Stein, you should drop out and endorse the candidate that represents the exact opposite of everything our party supposedly stands for, with friends like the European Green Party, who needs Democrats. And some of you might be thinking or assuming that the European Green Party would be avidly against genocide, so how could they even think about endorsing Kamala Harris? Yeah, unfortunately, you would be mistaken. They are not as clear on their anti-genocide stance as you would think they are, as compared to the Green Party of the United States. They're all about reaffirming Israel's right to exist before we even open up any discussion about the hundreds of thousands of lives ended by Israel and Gaza. In fact, if you go read their entire platform regarding Gaza, it looks as if Kamala wrote it herself. During this election alone, the Democratic Party has spent an inordinate amount of time, energy, and effort trying to do things like keep the Green Party off ballots in certain states, literally steal their federal funding so that they can't campaign effectively, keep them off the debate stage. And that's just some of the things that they've done to the Green Party and Jill Stein in this election, not to speak about the last 4 to 8 years. And all that time, the European Greens had nothing to say about the literal fascists, about the actual attacks on our democracy by suppressing a party from being heard, so that people know what their options are when it comes to November 5th, 2024 presidential election. Now, since Kamala can't get her shit together, since Muslim and Arab voters are leaving the Democratic Party in droves to specifically vote for Jill Stein and Butch Ware, now the European Green Party finally want to come out and comment in our election, and it's to tell the Green Party member to drop out of the election instead of congratulating her for offering a viable substitute, a viable option for voters who have, I don't know, fucking soul and refuse to continue a genocide with their vote, continue to fund the military industrial complex unapologetically and without accountability with their votes. Look, I know our Green Party ain't perfect, but damn, at least our Green Party isn't openly advocating to vote for genocide. But that just lets you know something. Jill Stein is doing so well that Green parties from across the world have been called on to try and take her down. The UK Labour Party, who would normally be advocating on behalf of a candidate like Jill Stein, is showing up to North Carolina to campaign on behalf of Kamala Harris. The Democrats even ran an ad for the very first time against the Green Party candidate when they ran one recently against Jill Stein. It looks like measureless chagrin and the disbelief of Democrats. Genocide actually is a red line for much of the country. Thank God. Because I was starting to get a little bit worried, y'all. I really was.
Yep, that was Nico House, and always something valid to say, and all that, and agree with him. About the European Greens. What the fuck is wrong with them? That they're going to go and encourage Kamala Harris to drop out. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is not what you're supposed to do. Not at all. You're supposed to support your own, and think about it is, I think that there's a lot of talk about the deep state, and maybe our deep state is infiltrating the European Greens to do this sort of bullshit, to destroy to destroy a third party movement in the U.S. here with this statement. This is their way of doing this. One of the many ways. So, domestically, you have the Democratic Party doing what they can to keep the Green Party off the ballots, and hell, I mean, they won't even allow an open primary anymore. So, if this sort of thing keeps coming up with the Democrats, they're going to self implode at this point. A bunch of authoritarian centrists that don't stand for anything other than being authoritarian for the sake of being authoritarian. People are going to look elsewhere. And the Republican Party could benefit from this, even though the Republican Party has their set of authoritarian principles themselves. But yeah, the Democrats running a campaign commercial against Jill Stein. Do you remember in the 2020 primaries when Michael Bloomberg ran one commercial? It wasn't to attack Donald Trump. It was to attack Bernie Sanders, Bernie Bros. And now the Democratic Party took that with them, and they didn't go around attacking Donald Trump. They went to attack Jill Stein. I can guarantee you, ideologically, the Democratic Party has a bigger problem with Jill Stein than they do with Donald Trump. In fact, I just about promise you that's the case. Because, where's the talk of Medicare for all or a public option? Where's the talk of the Protect the Right to Organize Act? Where's the talk of taking on the military-industrial complex? Where's the talk of accountability of banking and insurance institutions? Where's the talk about this? Nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen at all. And so I wanted to go and discuss this here kind of early in the morning, because my live streams are usually about an hour more or less in the evenings when I do it Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But I decided to do this, and plus tomorrow we're having a special Braglands, which is the election night coverage. So I decided to do my own stories here and comment on it. So there is that. And anyway, let's go and talk on the chat line here and see how everybody's doing. Okay, and as I said, I remember Miguel earlier. Miguel, once again, I hope you're well. We have here scrolling on down, Earl Kosak. Well, they're left-wing hacks. So, referring to the Young Turks. I have no idea who you are, Earl, but Young Turks are hacks. I don't know how far left they are anymore at this point. So, and Dennis Hill says here, looser Trump, or Dennis Hell. And then Dr. Nick Riviera says, hi, everyone, and hello right back to you, sir. So, here we are at the end of the line right here. So, as I said, if you haven't voted already yet, you got today to early vote. In if it's accessible for you to do so, please do so. And of course, tomorrow's election day. If you haven't voted yet, please make the effort and vote your conscience. I don't vote shame. You know where I stand when it comes to electoral politics. I am I try to stay independent as far as the duopoly, but I don't vote. I don't do the voter shame thing. So, you know, I understand that people have their points of view on these matters, and so do I. So, um, and we'll see what happens. A special announcement tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 o'clock Standard Time, we're going to have Braglands on, and I'm sorry, I'm burping. I'm sorry, I just ate something a little earlier. So we're gonna have Braglands on, and we'll see. We'll have William Stodden, and Stephanie Shalinsky from the Socialist Party USA. They are the Socialist Party USA candidate for president, and let me get everything set up over here so you can see the thumbnail and all that. And let me go and have everything set up because I don't have a producer. I am my own producer, as you know. So there we go. And as you can see, or you can, oh yeah, you can see it. There it is. The Braglands 2024 election coverage. President and Vice President of the Socialist Party USA, William Stodden and Stephanie Shalinsky. And they'll be joining us, and we'll be discussing their campaign. We'll be discussing the campaign of other third parties, the campaign of the duopoly. We'll be discussing the politics in general and reacting to the election results, pretty much, and all that. So it sounds like a lot of fun. So I hope that every one of y'all will come in and join us, and all of that. So, and I've known William and Stephanie for years, so it'd be nice to talk to them, in person, once again, other than through the Facebook and all that. So, so let me just finish with my final words here. And if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any way if you disagree with what I have to say. Oh, wait, let me finish my final comment. Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will live stream again. I just wanted to get this particular live stream out of the way, but I will be live streaming tonight at 8 o'clock. So please come back at 8 p.m. this evening, and to hear me live stream and yap. And if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any way you disagree with what I have to say. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share any content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Also, remember to reject corporate media, and of course, always remember that that we need to work for a full pardoning of Julian Assange. Fully pardon and free and pardon Ed Snowden, free Palestine, free healthcare for all, and free speech. Protect that, and of course, to stay high too. I can't wait for that to be legal in North Carolina. I can't wait. I want it to be legal in North Carolina so bad. So, and Max, sorry, Jay, how are you doing this morning? So, anyway, as I said, please come on back tonight, and I'll be back again, and I will talk to every one of y'all soon. Y'all take care. Bye-bye. Trying to get everything set up. There we go.
I've been living in spite of myself.